Consciousness is a state of being when an individual is awakened to their place, historically, culturally, socio-politically, and spiritually in the diaspora.
What up, though? I'm Bryce Huffman. I currently serve as the engagement editor for BridgeDetroit. We're a nonprofit newsroom in the city, but I am a lifelong Detroiter outside of, being an undergrad for 4 years in Mount Pleasant and living in Grand Rapids for 3 years as a reporter. But aside from that, I've been in Detroit. My journey to consciousness, I think, starts when I was 6 years old. I was in the car with my dad, and back then, me and my siblings, we used to hate the seatbelt strap because we were short and it used to go across our neck instead of our chest. So instead of sitting with it properly on, we'd sit with the belt buckle, but the top strap would be behind us because it was just more comfortable for us. So, I'm in the car, I'm 6. My dad gets pulled over, and we're in the suburbs, and he's, he's always been professional and all that, but I'm seeing him straighten up and make sure he's tidy and hands on the wheel and all that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is what you do when you get stopped by the police or whatever. I didn't think much of it. We don't even get a ticket. The guy gives us a warning. He's like, make sure your kid has the seatbelt on the right way. And then on the way home, my dad gives me the police talk. I'm 6. I had met white people before. I had a couple of them at school. I had some white teachers, but I had not really been in a lot of primarily white spaces. So I didn't understand race or racism yet. I just thought, oh, there's black people, and then there's some light-skinned folks over there with different hair or whatever. I didn't think anything of it. And that was kind of the first awakening to, we get treated differently, we have to be careful. And then I'm 6, so at the time my brother's 12. My brother and sister were not in the car with us, but he's kind of explaining your brother's at that age where police are going to start to look at him differently. He's going to, he's starting to grow a little facial hair, he's getting taller. They're going to treat him differently, and you'll see how that plays out when you and him are together. And, I believed my dad, right, when he said, I knew he wasn't lying. I guess I didn't fully comprehend how that would manifest in my life. So then, the next thing that, really sticks out as far as forming my consciousness, in the, what grade would I have been in? I think I was in the 4th grade when this happened. I was in the 4th grade. We went to an event at the Charles H. Wright Museum. Our school, our little private Christian school, was mostly black. But because of where it was located on Woodward and Warren, we were right in the cultural center of Detroit, as they call it. So we were right near the DIA, the library, the historical museum, and the Charles H. Wright Museum. So we go over there for an event. There's kids from other schools there. They have us in the auditorium, and they're talking about affirmative action. Now, at the time, I'm 9. I had never really heard about affirmative action. So this is 2003, 2004, right around the time that the conversation in Michigan in specific was really starting to heat up. Should we demolish this thing, or should we improve it? Should we change it? Should we keep it the same? And I'm listening to kids that are, I'm a 4th grader, so there's 7th and 8th graders there as well. I'm listening to them articulate their thoughts around what is fair, what is not fair. And I just remember being really taken aback by the idea that because we've been treated unfairly for so long and have all these barriers, that this is one way to kind of level the playing field, but there's people, particularly white people, who want to get rid of that. They think that that's bad, that the playing field is being leveled. And it took me back to being that little 6-year-old kid learning about the way racism might show up in my life. And I'm okay, this is a part of that conversation my dad started back then. And I had a friend, he was also in my grade, but he was always more mature than the other kids. His name is Emmanuel Green. And I remember he really summarized all of the thoughts of the older kids in a way that just was easier for me at 9 to understand. He was talking about the way that we as black people are not asking for some great advantage over other groups. You know, we just want to live happy, prosperous lives and not be messed with, you know. And I remember he made it sound so simple that I'm like, man, why doesn't everyone understand that? Like, I just assume everyone thought that way. And I thought about it again really strongly when I was 12. I went to U of D Jesuit for 7th grade, which was the first time I went to a school where I was, you know, the minority, right? I had never been in a school where there weren't a bunch of black teachers and administrators and students and janitorial staff and cafeteria staff. Like, when I was at U of D, at the time, the racial split was probably like 35% black kids, maybe, something like that. Enough of a difference where you know, like, oh, there are going to be some classes I'm in where I'm one of the only few black kids. And it was like an obvious, apparent thing. And I remember thinking back to what Emmanuel had said as a 4th grader, and I'm like, his level of awareness of what is going on is crazy compared to how ignorant some of my white classmates were, right? Like, getting questions about, like, why does your hair look like that? And, oh, do you have a dad? It was just like the most ignorant things that you know they're getting from their parents and their older siblings. But just, I remember thinking, like, how are y'all this old at a school that's supposed to be for smart kids not understanding this stuff? You know, so I'm there for 2 years before my freshman year, and going into my freshman year, for whatever reason, I decided to read the autobiography of Malcolm X by Alex Haley. I don't really know what made me want to read it. It probably has something to do with, you know, this is 2008. Barack Obama was about to get elected as our first black president. I just wanted to have a better understanding of, like, racial dynamics. A lot of it came from probably wanting to debate white kids. So I was like, I need to know the stuff to be able to do that. So I read that book. It's funny, I hated reading for school. Like, I remember I bombed my summer reading tests, like, almost every year at U of D to that point, because I didn't want to read over the summer. But I remember reading that book, like, in my free time, reading it at the lunch table, and it really, I don't know, something about his journey from very selfish, very greedy, very in tune with what capitalism does to black people, to completely changing that over the course of his adult life. It really stuck out to me. So yeah, I would say those are probably, like, the most foundational pieces of my race consciousness and class consciousness. That book in particular, I went in thinking about race a lot, but that book really helped me understand, like, the class consciousness side of race.